Yonas Kibreab, Haley Tju. Thank you so much for speaking with the Nerds of Color today. How are you both?
Great.
Great. Thank you so much for having us.
Of course. Thank you for speaking with us. Actually, before we start, Haley, I just have to tell you, I love Amphibia. I love Marcy. Like, I love that show so much. And your performance, amazing.
Thank
Just,
you.
it's
Thank
touched
you
so
so
many
much.
people's souls. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
thank you.
Of course. So Jonas, you've been playing at this point now a very distinctive and overall, I would say, more kid-friendly version of Damian Wayne than what we're used to in the comics. But what would you say are key traits that you keep in common with the comics character?
Sorry, wait, could you say it one more time?
Oh, yes. Sorry, can you hear me?
No, yeah, I can. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just what are certain key traits you have in common with the comics version of Damian Wayne?
I'm definitely not that tapped in with the lore of Damian Wayne. I do know that, he was Robin, if I'm correct, right? But I think Robin definitely has like this high energy, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Damian too.
Yeah, totally. So Haley, for you, you're playing this version of Volcana slash Claire, who initially came into DC via Superman the Animated Series. So I feel like you had a lot of room to really make this character your own. So how were you able to step into this role that way?
Definitely. I feel like there hasn't been too much about uh, Claire, the 12-year-old version of Volcana. So this was a really fun, exciting role to take on. I did do some research because I wasn't super well versed with her, but now playing her, I think she's so fascinating and truly one of my favorite characters that have made me a fan of the DC universe. She's great. I mean, she doesn't really remember her past too much. So she's kind of like redoing her life again, which is fascinating. As a 12-year-old, also being welcomed into this family with little Batman and all these other superheroes. And I think they definitely kind of guide her and help her not only to trust them, but also to like use her powers for good, which is new for her. I think it's interesting her whole origin, even being feared with her pyrokinetic powers to now being really embraced.
Yeah, it's great to watch. And I suppose for both of you, as both of your characters increasingly step into their abilities and step up to do good, what can you tease for audiences? For example, Jonas, what Damien learns along the way, becoming a new little Batman.
I would say like he's definitely gotten better, a little better at driving. I mean, in the movie, he's not a very good driver. In the show, he's not the best driver, but he's gotten better.
True that. For Claire, I would say really just like coming into herself again. We're seeing her as this 12-year-old version, which not a lot of people have gotten to know. So it's really just like her learning how to trust herself and trust literally anybody else.
Including and especially the titular Bat Fam. So, how does the dynamic of this makeshift Bat Fam evolve in a way for audiences to look forward to? If you can tease anything without spoilers.
Of course. Well, I mean, what's so special about Batman? It's superheroes with their mask off, being real people, which people haven't really seen. So like the familial themes, the even Damien and Claire, they're dynamic and they kind of, not necessarily get along perfectly, but they also love each other and it's really interesting and I think it's really relatable to so many different sibling relationships.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those were all the questions I had. And just thank you both so much for this wonderful interview. Congratulations on Bat Fam and can't wait for everyone to check it out. Thanks so much again for speaking with the Nerds of Color today.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
All right. Take care, y'all. Amazing. Michael Benyaer, thank you so much for speaking with the Nerds of Color today. How are you?
That is a good pronunciation. Someone gave you a cheat sheet on that. Yeah, I go by Benyaer, but that's the definite old school pronunciation.
I mean, us brown guys, we
How it
get
is. Sure, sure.
it. So, congratulations on playing Ras Al Ghul. So, how did you approach playing this infamous villain slash anti-hero, some would say, and aim to make him more affable for a kid's audience?
That's a great question. Thank you. I'm going to tell the same story that I told everybody. Uh, 10, 15 years ago, one of my best friends in LA, we're hanging out. He knows my acting career. He used to be a roommate. He said, out of the blue one day, he goes, "You're going to play Ra's al Ghul." And I said, "I don't know who that is." And he says, "You're not familiar with him?" And he says, "He's a Batman villain." And I said, "I don't know him." He goes, "Oh, he was not on the original show because he was created in 71. So I went and I kind of looked it up. I said, "Oh, I could do that." A couple years later, they do the movie with Liam Neeson playing him. And I'm like, "Well, I guess that one's gone. And it's not going to happen." And then a couple years ago, I get the audition for this, and I remember reading it, and I said, "I'm going to play this part." I just had a feeling, and I think it was because it was comedic, and I understood the kind of the juxtaposition of the dichotomy of being a retired supervillain and also loving his grandson. "Well, how are you, my little grandson?" And I just loved that. And sorry, what was the other part of the question? Sorry.
Oh, just making him more affable for a kid's
Oh, the
audience.
affable aspect. I think that he's irascible, which is even if you have a grandfather or an uncle like that who is kind of ornery, you still love them because they're hilarious, even though they don't realize they're hilarious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I have many relatives like that. I'm sure you
Right.
do as well.
Yes.
Yeah, like Ras Al Ghul and his daughter Talia, they've been iconic characters that a lot of us brown people could see ourselves in. They might have been in like some tropes, but we're starting to break out of that, including now in
Right.
Bat Fam. So, how do you think playing this sillier version of Ras Al Ghul helps with that?
Great question. I like the fact that they don't really go too into the specifics of where he's from or not. He's just from over there. And I wish there were more comedic characters of that heritage for me to play. I wish there were more. And I don't know how much of your research you've done, but I got to LA about 30 years ago playing Haji on Johnny Quest. And at the time,
By the way, I just have to say I love that series so much as a kid.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I was interviewed, something like this, and I said something, and it's on Wikipedia. I can't, you can't get rid of it. I said, it's very rare for an ethnic character to be a hero in a show. And thankfully, since then, it's changed a lot. I mean, I think Haji was the only Indian character on television other than Apu at the time, so it's really changed if you watch film and TV today. And even though Roz is a villain, he's not really a villain in this show, which is he's kind of joined the other team, as it were. So I really enjoy the comedic aspect, and I hope that it continues to push for more representation of all diversities. And I, for one, am personally thankful that I get to do it. But I definitely see more diversity in film and TV and animation because kids all over the world are watching these shows and they need to see themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we advocate always here at Nerds of Color.
Right, right.
So, yeah. So, my last question is like, you really do play like a pivotal member of Bruce's family, with Ras Al Ghul being his son's grandfather. And would you say that's given in playing this role, that's given you insight into Bruce Wayne, this icon Batman as a character?
Yes. I don't think we've really seen Bruce as a father in anything kind of long form before. Forgive me, you might know more than me. And that's really the interesting aspect of the show, which is you're seeing him as the crime fighter, as the brooding Batman at times, very serious, and then cut to the interior of Wayne Manor, the sitcom aspect, and he's a dad making breakfast, helping out making breakfast, of course. But I like the fact that you're seeing a well-rounded character, as it were. Like it's not just it is 2D, but it's 3D, as it were. Yes.
Yeah, totally. So many dimensions in this 2D animated show.
Right.
Michael Benyaer, thank you so much for doing Nerds of Color today, and
Thank
congratulations
you.
on the role. Congratulations on Bat Fam.
Thank you, my friend.
Of course.
Comics, movies, and TV, yeah. Pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this. This is the hard knock life, but not the chica kind. More like the people in the world seeking perspectives with a different line. The kids who share their interests together with a similar kind. When they said John Glover for Spider-Man, they didn't mind. The activists